Grace. The drive home wasn't bad. No one followed us, and the unusually cold air downtown earlier is barely noticeable now that we are up north. It was past midnight when we arrived, and Ida and her team were already waiting at the main house. Victor said he did the mind link, and because I was not officially part of their pack, I didn't receive the message. The tiny cuts in their faces are gone, but the deeper wounds in their body are still visible. It's not looking as bad as before. I remembered what I read in the book, and it said that wolves naturally heal themselves, except the healing process differs depending on the severity. The Omegas handed robes to the three men just when I saw Erica coming out of the door. For a second there, I thought she would see Hans, but nope. Erica checked on me. "Ugh, these two. Are you okay?" asked Erica. I nodded. "We are okay. The guys had a hard time as the vampires kept multiplying." Erica looked at Hans, but the guys had already gone in with the medical team, and only his back could be seen. "He protected me," I said to her. "Good," said Erica. I know she felt really proud of Hans, but she wouldn't voice it out. "I'm glad you all came back alive. Those vampires are vicious, and they won't stop until they get you. I'm just going to check on the guys, then you and I need to go back to Shadow Moon. I have a lot of questions for your mother, and I am also hoping I can talk to the seer." "Do you think?" The sound of my phone ringing cut me off, and I didn't bother looking at the screen. "Hello? Grace, are you okay? Did they hurt you? The baby?" It was Ulrich. The news traveled fast. He was asking me so many questions all at once I didn't know which one to answer first. "I'm fine. How did you?" He cut me off, but didn't answer me. "I'm coming over to get you." This is what I was worried about. I shouldn't have let you stay. "Ulrich, I am fine. The baby is fine. I can protect myself. You don't need me." He sounded hurt. "Don't be ridiculous. Of course, I need you. The baby and I need you. But if you want to help me, I need you to talk to all the packs and ask them for help. Valentine is not going to stop until he gets a hold of me, and there's quite a lot who came for me this evening." I heard Ulrich curse. "I will not let him take you." I tried my best to calm him down. "I know, baby. Could you just help me with that one? I don't know if you can convince. They will help us. Don't worry. Is Erica with you?" "Thank you. Yes, she's with me. Listen, I have to go to Shadow Moon shortly, but I will be back soon. I will be there in about an hour. I know he has a plane, but I can't go with him yet." Seeing how many blood-sucking monsters were sent for me, Valentine could have 5 or 10,000 more. I can't leave this pack yet. Valentine knows where I am staying by now, and they are going to come here. This pack will be outnumbered. You are pregnant. We are talking about your safety here, Grace. Besides, they can't go in without an invitation, remember? They can. How? Alondra, my grandmother's sister. That's why I have to go back to Shadow Moon. I need to know what happened. I need to know a lot of things. I will talk to you soon, okay? Okay, please be careful. I will, I promise. Erica and I went to check the guys, and they were all patched up. Ida insisted on doing a quick check on the baby, too, as my stress levels were too high because of the attack. Ida felt relieved that the baby and I were well. I was about to tell Victor that I was going to visit my aunt, when Vivian came in and slammed the door open. She was wearing pajamas, and her hair was disheveled. "What the hell happened to you?" Vivian asked her brother. "Lowell, Hans." She turned to them, but the two won't speak and leaving their alpha to answer. "It's nothing, go back to sleep," said Victor. "It's not." Vivian looked at me in anger and said, "It's because of you, isn't it? Ever since you came into our lives, everything has been a mess." You. Erica moved in front of me in defense, as Vivian was ready to get physical. I would be careful if I were you, Erica warned Vivian. Her left hand opened, and a fight was about to start. Erica, I called her, but she won't look at me. With her. Vivian looked smug. Even with the two of you combined, I can take you without sweating. Vivian managed to flip her hair and smirk. Really? Let's try it, you and me, bitch. Erica is livid, and her hand is lighting up. If Hans didn't pull Erica to his side, only the goddess knows what would have happened, as Vivian's claws were starting to come out too. I heard a loud growl, and it was enough to shake the main house. Enough, said Victor. Vivian's claws retracted, and the light coming out from Erika's hand dimmed. Vivian, go back to your room. No. Victor may be her brother, but he is still alpha. She has no choice but to follow his command. But before she did what he asked, she said, I am your only sister. You are supposed to take my side. I am your brother, but I am the alpha of this pack. It is my responsibility to keep everybody safe, and if you still don't get it, then I don't know what to do with you anymore. I am your responsibility too. Vivian shouted. I already did that night. What else do you want from me? Victor shouted back, and Vivian's tear fell. That night, I saw Victor glanced at me after he shouted at Vivian. And I knew he didn't mean to say it, especially in front of me. There's that guilt in his eyes, but for what? Vivian managed to wipe her tears away and make herself look dignified. You're sick of me, is that it? Victor didn't answer. Fine, from now on, you will not be responsible for me, and just take care of that slut. She stormed out of the room, but Victor didn't go after her. He apologized to me, then left the room. Oh, what a night. Valentine. Club Tempest, Toronto. I wanted to know what other powers Grace possessed. If she was anything like Amari, then she would be an excellent wife to me. I just need to know how to render her powerless once she passes it on to me. As per the prophecy, Dimitri saw me ruling the world, besides the most powerful witch of her time. Grace will be an immortal like me, and I will never walk this world alone anymore. While waiting, I went to Club Tempest, one of the businesses that Roberto owns in Toronto. It's an exclusive club, and the members must pay a certain amount of money to access the second and third levels. The club is 3-story. The first level is free, and this is where the usual club setup is, with a bar, a few tables, and a band. There's a dance floor and private booths for couples who want some privacy on the second level. And the third level is for demons like me. Believe it or not, there are women in deep sorrow who want to end their lives. Instead of turning them, we feed on them. They entertain us and quench our thirst for blood. In return, they are paid and provided with their own room in the basement where they are safe. I was deep in my thoughts when Roberto returned with a few vampires with him. How was your hunt? I asked him. He looked tired and ready to pass out. My lord, Amari's granddaughter only showed her 2 powers. And what are they? Telekinesis and the power to stop time. My lord, she froze us all in the middle of an attack. She only had 3 wolves with her, and we would have killed them all if she didn't stop the time. She managed to unfreeze just her friends and drove away. Interesting. How long did it last? Apologies, my lord. I was not able to time it, but it is definitely more than a minute. If you want, I can review the surveillance cameras and get the time, Roberto suggested. I nodded. Sure, that's a wonderful idea. Amari never gets tired, and she can take on my entire army without her guards if she wants to. But the truce between the vampires, wolves, and witches are sacred, which I broke this evening. Actually, I already broke it when I attacked Grace in New York. But at the time, I didn't know she was a hybrid. How strong is she? I will do that immediately, my lord. Permission to leave your presence. You may leave, I said to him. As he walked towards the door, I called Vincent. Vincent, have you heard anything about Alondra? Nothing as of yet, my lord. I have checked a few dark witch covens, and she is not there. Oh. Did you check the Nightshade? I asked him. Nightshade Coven has a few powerful dark witches, and though their circle is small, they are strong together. Still, all of them combined do not compare to Alondra. Not yet, my lord. If I may ask, do you think she's still alive? I don't mean any disrespect, but Alondra would be in her late 70s now. No. The witches and the wolves were not granted immortality, unlike us. Maybe, but until you have proof that she is gone like her sisters Amari and Avery, we will keep looking for her. I understand, my lord. Go now, and don't return until you find her. The battle must take place before the eclipse. Ulrich. High Crown, Montreal. The video conference has just ended with all the alphas in the country. And although there are 11 packs remaining, not all of them wanted to help us when they learned that Grace was a hybrid. Some of them were getting hostile, saying I broke the rules, which are off topic from the agenda. I remained calm despite the anger brewing inside me, as Grace wouldn't like it if I messed it up. Fortunately, Alpha Victor joined us last minute and defended Grace. He told us how she fought against the vampires, and that he would be dead along with his beta and gamma if not for her. Some were convinced. Some remained stubborn and still refused to help. At the end of the conference, Wintercrest, Silent Mane, Crimson Ridge, Looping Mane, and Black Claw will join us in the battle against Sanguine Ligurio. Bronze Ridge is already there even if I don't ask them. I left the study only to find my parents standing by the doorway. Mom, Dad, you're still awake? I asked them, but they answered me differently. Is it true? Is High Crown going to battle to defend a hybrid? My father is not in a very good mood right at this moment. Have you lost your mind? Grace is. He didn't let me finish. I don't care who she is. You can't risk this pack for a hybrid. You became Alpha because I thought you knew how to take care of this pack, Ulrich. This is not how I imagined it would be when I tell them about Grace, and that they are going to be grandparents soon. Shit. Alistair, hear him out. My mother tried to Dad. I've never seen him so upset until now. Ulrich, what is it about this hybrid that you're too protective of her? What is her name, and how did you get to know her? Asked Aurora. My mother looked so distraught. Let's go inside and talk so that we can have some privacy. My father wouldn't move while my mother frowned and tried to convince her husband. Please. When the three of us were seated and the door was closed, I took a deep breath and started telling them about New York. And the more I tell them about Grace, the more Father's crease deepened. What is her last name? Strain, from the Shadow Moon Coven. She is the long-lost granddaughter of Queen Amari. I said to them. And you said you weren't able to tell whether she was a witch or a wolf. What's wrong with your sense of smell, Ulrich? I let out a sigh. It's a long story, and we can talk about it once Grace comes here. My mother nodded while my father remained quiet and deep into his thoughts. Is there something else we should know? She's carrying my child, and Grace is due soon. Grace. I didn't get to tell Victor that I was going to Shadow Moon, so I told Hans instead, just in case they wondered where I went. There have been a lot of things going on in my mind since the attack. Aside from that, I feel exhausted, but I didn't want to leave this for tomorrow. I need to see the seer now. Are you ready? Asked Erika. One of these days, I have to learn how to do a portal. Do you think I can borrow a book at the coven? I asked her. I am sure you can, just let Mom know. Don't you have powers to orb yet? What is an orb? You get to teleport wherever you want. You just have to will your mind to take you to a specific place you want to be, and you will have white and blue little lights around you. Anyway, that's mostly for witches that have healing powers. They can heal everyone but not themselves. Do you have it? Erica shook her head. No. I don't have the ability to heal anyone either. I guess we'll see if I have it once I receive my full powers. Erica created a portal, and off we went to Shadow Moon. This time, the portal opened to her bedroom. She probably noticed that I looked tired, so she asked me to lie down while she called for Aunt Emlyn. I didn't realize how long I fell asleep, but when I opened my eyes and looked at the clock, I pretty much slept for 2 hours. Erica, and their mom are on the balcony talking about Alondra. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but it's hard not to hear even when I am in bed. Mom, do you know where Alondra is yet? When she was banished, Mom thought Alondra would join other covens, but she didn't. She formed her own and called it Dark Flame. It's hard to find, honestly. I haven't seen her before except for a few photos. Is she still alive? She must be old. What is she now? 100? Asked Erica. Em laughed a little. Your math is off, Blondie. Oh please, I was being sarcastic. Alondra is in her 70s. That's right, she is in her 70s, said Aunt Emlyn. Did she ever get married? Asked Em. I'm not sure. Some say Alondra got pregnant and had a child, and because of what she did to her sister, she lost her child too or something like that. They were all rumors, so don't quote me on this. One thing that was consistent though, is that the child didn't have any powers, and that's why Alondra didn't want her. What? That's ridiculous. If she ever had a child, a mother's love is supposed to be unconditional, said Erica. We are talking about Alondra here. I don't think she is fit to be a mother, especially when all she cares about is herself and getting more powers. Em countered. Anyway, the child is not allowed to go out or mingle with other witches. One day, the child ran away and never returned. Some say she died, some say she survived. I don't know who she is or if she even existed, but if she is real, she is welcome to this family. Wait, Mom, she must be around your age or a tad younger. Maybe she got married too and has a family of her own. What do you think? Maybe. Just keep your eyes and ears open. You never know what's going to happen next. If Valentine finds Alondra before us, all hell is going to break loose. By the way, do you know what Grace wanted to ask the seer about? Something about her powers is all I know. During the attack, she got tired easily. Didn't you say Queen Amari never gets weary? Grace should be the same, right? Asked Em. Not all. Every witch is unique. Just as the weakness for Queen Amari is different from Grace's. Weakness. I have a weakness, and I have to know what it is before Valentine finds out. I got up and went to the balcony to see them. Grace, you're awake. Did you have a good rest? Asked Aunt Emlyn. I nodded. Yes, I did, thank you, Aunt Emlyn. Is it normal to get tired when using our powers? The rest of us, yes. But your grandmother was an exemption in our kind. She told me. I see. I have a few questions for the seer. Do you know if she would see me? It's really important. We can only try. She's very old and could be very cranky, as you know. She has some good days, so I hope today is one of them. By the way, Aunt Emlyn, have you found out what you were looking for regarding High Crown? Ulrich wants me to move in, and when I asked for time, he only gave me 2 weeks. Not yet, but I will before the end of this week. I had more pressing matters to tend to. I really hope she figures it out, whatever it is. Ulrich is not going to have it if I ask for another week. I don't want to ask anyway because I miss him terribly. By the time we reached Niam's room, she was already waiting for us by the door. Her eyes are pure white, but she can see everything. Isn't that something? You wanted to talk to me, a descendant of Amari. That wasn't a question but a direct statement. My name is Grace. Yes, I have a few questions and... Not a few. Let's talk inside, and I will tell you all that you want to know. When I turned to face Aunt Emmeline and my cousins, they nodded and said they would meet me upstairs later. As I entered her room, I was stunned to see how small it was from the inside. She had a rocking chair near the window, a single bed, a love seat with a small coffee table, television, radio, and her own bathroom. There's no mini kitchen. I was told everyone eats in the dining hall for lunch and supper. Not all of them eat breakfast, as they don't all get up early. Have a seat. Thanks, Naya. As she sat in her rocking chair, she said, You wanted to know when you would have your full powers. Yes. Without batting an eyelash, she answered. When you die. What the fuck did she just say? Roar read. White Plains Hotel, Montreal. I received a call yesterday from an old friend and was asked to meet with her today. I didn't want to as I hadn't seen her in a long time. Frankly, we had nothing to talk about. But she said something about a secret I buried a long time ago. How could she possibly know about that? It will destroy me. And my family. Unfortunately, today, I'm a nervous wreck. I even had to lie to Alistair about this meeting. I just told him that I was going out shopping, even when I was not. Now, I'm waiting for this woman to arrive. Usually, I don't feel anxious, but today is not like that. Aurora. Someone called my name, and when I turned my head to see her, I saw a tall, blonde-haired woman, who looked like she didn't age at all even though she was my age. She just walked into the private room she booked for the two of us. Emmeline, what do I owe the pleasure of this meeting? I asked her without offering a smile. I purposely didn't greet her with the queen title. She took her seat like the queen she is, always poised and graceful. Why don't we order first before we start this conversation? I don't have much time. If you don't mind telling me what this is about, I would appreciate it. Emmeline smiled a little. Always the straightforward female beta that you are. All right, let's get down to business. I appreciate you coming here to see me. I didn't want you to travel far when I had the means of faster transportation. She cleared her throat. I want to know if you have ever met Amelia. I furrowed my brows. Amelia? Who's that? My apologies. You don't know her as Amelia. How about Dawn Aspen? Said Emmeline. I felt like the world had stopped turning. I haven't heard that name in such a long time. I don't know her. Oh. Do you want me to refresh your memory then? Asked Emmeline. You know, we could go on all day on this, but you and I both know that I will still get what I came for. I sighed. I've met her once in New York. How did you get to know her anyway? Unlike you, I've met her unexpectedly. Let's just say fate got tired and led me to her anyway. Continue. My father believes that I should marry Alistair for the alliance. At first, he was okay with it. He has been waiting for his fated mate, and at 29, she hasn't shown up. I haven't met mine either. Lynn's eyebrow raised, but she did not comment. But Alistair went to New York and met someone. He told me that his fated mate is human. We all knew the lost species of the same kind, only Alistair's father found out, and he won't have it. He was not alpha yet at that time, but soon to be. He was confused and lost. He didn't know what to do. Would he turn his back on the pack and live a normal life with her, or reject her completely? So I made it easier for him. I went to New York to see that woman. And what did you tell her? I told her that Alistair is mine, and our marriage is set. I even offered her money, but she refused to take it. Alistair never saw her again. Wrong. What? Alistair did see her again a few years later. They spent one night together, said Emlyn. They didn't. That's not true. I said to her. Alistair won't cheat on me. It's the truth. Do you ever wonder why Alistair won't look at you the way you want him to? She asked. I was a chosen mate. Not even a chosen mate, because I used force on him. After returning from my trip to New York, Alistair told me that he couldn't marry me. He chose Dawn, only to be turned away by her. I even told Dawn that I was pregnant with his child, and that sealed the deal. When Alistair returned to High Crown, he became alpha and married me immediately. But finding out today that he went to see her hurt me. All those years and even now, Alistair only loved her. Alistair won't cheat on me. I am now boiling in anger. How can he cheat on the one he truly loves? If not for you, they would still be together. Emlyn said calmly. I am his wife. I shouted at her, but Emlyn didn't even flinch. Because you forced him to marry you. You and I know the truth behind that. One day, your lie will catch up to you, and it won't be pretty, Aurora. What she said halted my breath, and I couldn't take it anymore. I am ending this conversation now. This is pointless. I stood up and grabbed my purse, and as I took 2 steps away from the table, Emlyn dropped a bomb. They have a child together. I felt like a grenade was thrown at me, and when it exploded, it shattered me to pieces. I turned around to face Emlyn. What did you say? That is not a joke I can take lightly, Emlyn. Queen, I am Queen Emlyn, Aurora. And that is not a joke. That one night they spent together resulted in Dawn's pregnancy. I felt like my knees were about to give out, and my heart wouldn't stop hammering. Where is Dawn? She passed. And the child? Alive. She was giving me short answers that I felt like strangling her neck. What do you want me to do with this new information? Why are you telling me all this? It's not like Alistair would claim this child. The pack will never accept that child anyway. Oh. How do you know? She looked amused. Because the rules have not changed, Queen Emlyn. It never has. I said to her sarcastically. It's bound to. Once the child sets foot at High Crown, everything will change, especially with you, Aurora. I am giving you a piece of unsolicited advice. Now come clean with Alistair. You owe him. You deprived him of a happy life he could have spent with Dawn and their child. He might not forgive you, but at least your conscience will be clear. I shook my head. No, I will never do that. I will lose my family. Then you should have thought about that before you messed up his life, and Dawn's life. She raised her baby alone when she could have had Alistair to support her, said Emlyn. Dawn is dead, and the child will never set foot in High Crown. I bet the child is even human like her mother. Emlyn cleared her throat. Like her mother? Yes, Dawn is human, I said confidently. Dawn is not human. Yes, she is, I insisted. I would have known if she was a witch or a blood-sucking demon. And she is definitely not a wolf. I can tell you that much. I didn't sense anything magical about her. I said to Emlyn. Dawn Aspen is not her real name. Her name is Amelia Strain, the long-lost daughter of Queen Amari, princess and the real heir to the throne of Shadowmoon Coven. No. I shook my head. That can't be. My head is spinning upon receiving the news. I didn't sense any magic on her. You're lying, Emlyn. I won't be lying about this, Aurora. You didn't sense magic on her because she didn't have any. Her father is human, and she took after him. I suddenly felt relieved. Oh, then I had nothing to worry about. Dawn's child would be like her, like I've said earlier. The powers that were not given to Amelia are given to her child. And you and I know what Queen Amari was like when she was still alive. I swallowed twice. The child is a hybrid. Emily smiled. The most powerful hybrid of her time. And she is at your doorstep right about now. Upon hearing that, I rushed to get home that I had almost forgotten my purse. I am so distraught that I can't think properly. My heart is broken. My head felt like I ran into a wall. Overall, I am a complete mess. I need to sort things out before Emlyn breaks the news to Alistair. Oh goddess, what have I done? Emlyn's final words are still echoing in my head. Come clean with your biggest lie. It either costs you your life or the life of someone who would give you your ultimate salvation. Choose wisely this time. Aurora Reed. Well, I will do it for you. Grace. Speaking to the seer only made me more confused, but she did answer most of my questions. The reason why I am getting tired so quickly is that I am pregnant. Naya explained that my baby is taking some of my energy, but I won't feel weary once I've given birth, even if the battle lasts for 24 hours. The seer shared her vision of what the world would look like if Valentine captured me, and it's not pretty. All the vampires are able to walk during the day, and will never need blood again. It's sort of like good news, but more of bad news. I thought they would never need blood, so there's no reason to hunt humans, but I was wrong. In fact, I am very wrong, because they will turn every human being on this planet into one of them. A world where only vampires exist. Naya also said that I would shift for the first time when the baby is born. I heard Willow squealing because she knew it was happening soon. My wolf still won't tell me what her color is and what she looks like. She wanted to surprise me, and I was okay with it. Before our conversation ended, I was hesitant to ask her about my weakness. You know, just in case someone was spying on us in here. But I still did. When I asked her if it was safe, Naya laughed and said she learned from her mistakes. She briefly talked about her conversation with my grandmother many years ago. Apparently, Naya spoke to her in the office and didn't realize that Alondra was near and would betray them. Flashback. Shadow Moon. Paphiopedilum rothschildinum. Pap what? I can't even pronounce it. Ugh. I guess how my power works is I have to read then hear it. Sumazao. This time she called it differently, and I still didn't get it. I give up. I did a face bomb. This thing is going to kill me, and I don't even know what it's called, because I can't pronounce the darn thing. Is that like the dragon's blood tree? The sap from that tree is what killed my grandmother. Naya shook her head. No, it's an orchid. It's so rare that it can only be found on the slopes of Mt. Kinabalu, between 500 and 1200 meters in altitude. Wow. She is smart. Okay, so it is not accessible to a lot of people. I suck at geography, but with my special powers now, I can learn faster. I have to read as many books as I can. I wonder if my brain has unlimited storage too. Where the hell is Mt. Kinabalu anyway? I asked her. Yes, your brain can store as much information as you like. As for your other question, Mt. Kinabalu is in Malaysia, said Naya. Wait, what? You heard me. I can read your mind. In fact, I can read everyone's mind except for two witches. Oh. Who are they? I asked her. Alondra and your cousin, Erica. They had this special block, a gift from the moon goddess. Anyway, back to the orchid. It is also called the gold of Kinabalu because it is very valuable for them. Some people are selling them on the black market, and it costs about 5 grand per stem. And yes, I know this because I see everything. I don't need to travel places to know things. Child. I mentally smirked. I keep forgetting she can read my thoughts. What does this orchid look like? Orchids are so pretty, but it would be wise for me to stay away from them from now on. It has red and green spotted petals, and the only way it will kill you is if you ingest the full dose of 6 blossoms. My jaw dropped. Why in the world would I eat a flower? Jeez. First, I smelled like strawberries, then I smelled like tomatoes, and now I die if I eat a flower. I find this adventure hilarious. My life is no longer boring but also became too exciting to the point that I am exhausted. Stop being silly, princess. If the Dark Witch finds out about this, she can create a potion. Your enemies can use that to paralyze or kill you, unless, of course, you ask Queen Emlyn to make you forget about this piece of information. Then you have a higher chance of survival. I'll think about it. Who doesn't want to know their weakness? If we all did, all of us would be avoiding death. It is up to you. Remember what I said. You don't get your full powers until you die. Okay. I have to die to get my full powers. So does that make me like a powerful zombie, then? Zombies aren't real. She sighed. I know you're puzzled about this, but trust Artemis, said Naya. I furrowed my brows. Pooh. Okay. I guess I suck at mythology, too, not just geography. Artemis is the moon goddess. When you see her, which you will soon, she wears a long robe and a veil covering her head. Sometimes, she carries her bow and arrows. One thing you should know about her is that she is willing to tolerate very little disrespect. Bow your head and don't look into her eyes. Bow and never look at her eyes. Got it. By the way, this orchid only blooms every 15 years, said Naya. So I'm safe. What a relief. Valentine can keep looking for it, but if it's not in bloom, then that's too bad. Oh. Take that, you blood-sucking, cold dickhead. Naya frowned at me. Of course, she heard me. Sorry. I apologized to her and hoped that she would let it slide. I remember Mom making me face the wall the first time she heard me swearing. It's okay, you still have a lot to learn. She massaged her temples. To answer your question, no, you're not safe. That orchid blooms this year. Oh crap. Your power will be limitless, and some might see you as a threat. So be careful and only use your powers when you need them. Otherwise, be the one your mother has always hoped you'd be. A human. End of flashback. When Erica and I returned to Bronze Ridge, I found Ulrich pacing back and forth in my bedroom, and looked relieved when he saw me. Grace. I can feel his longing when he uttered my name. I walked towards him and gave him a tight embrace. He kissed my forehead and said, "Finally. You're here. You said you'd be back right away." "I know. I'm sorry. I had other things to do." Ulrich then kneeled and kissed my belly. "Is the baby okay?" "Yes, the baby is fine. I rest when I feel tired while I was at Shadow Moon." He carried me to bed, and as we lay there together, I asked him, "Were you able to convince them?" "I have a feeling not all of them will join us, but it is worth a try. I talked to them that night, and 6 of them, including Bronze Ridge, will join us. I tried to convince the others, but they said a hybrid's fight was not theirs." I was so angry. I caressed his face and tried to calm him down. "Shh, you've tried your best, so thank you." I kissed his cheek and laid my head on his chest. "They are right. It is not their fight. If the time comes and they need help, I will not." I stopped him right there. "Don't go there. That is not you. And just because they are not willing to help us now doesn't mean you should do the same to them." My mother said to offer help whenever we could because we never know if we are their last hope. "Your mother is a wise woman," he said to me. Ulrich intertwined our fingers and planted a kiss on my head. Was Mom passed away when I was 18. I'm sorry, was she sick? He sounded empathetic. She got hit by a drunk driver, and there was no footage as the camera at the site was broken. However, I was told the driver surrendered himself and pleaded guilty. Who was it? Asked Ulrich. I didn't bother to find out his name, or even look at his face. I don't know what I would do to him. I took a deep breath. The truth is I don't trust myself, and I just might kill him. I haven't forgotten what happened, and I haven't given my forgiveness either. I just went on with my life, and dealt with the pain one day at a time. Maybe one day, I will have the courage to face that man, but that's not going to be anytime soon. I took a deep breath. Anyway, the lawyer said he offered a large sum of money. I am sure he means well, but I felt offended more than anything. My mother's life is precious, and no amount of money can ever bring her back. All I asked for him was a decent burial for my mom, and I've been living by myself since. Did he go to jail for that? I shook my head. No, they found a way around it for some reason, and all he had to do was community service. I could have contested it, but for me, my mother is gone. What happened was an accident. The driver should have been responsible, yes, but I also know that everyone makes mistakes. Some are just fatal, like what happened that night. I believe that he also deserves a second chance. How he lives his life after that is on him. Hopefully, it made him a better man. Grace. High Crown. Seeing High Crown during the day rendered me speechless. If it was beautiful that night of the party, it is even more beautiful now that the sun is shining. It's like a massive castle in the middle of the forest. The flowers are blooming, and the grass is trimmed. I could hear the birds chirping as they flew from one maple tree to another. It must be nice here in the fall, as the leaves change their colors. I can see a little village just like at Bronze Ridge, outside the gates, and not too far from here. Their hospital is bigger, and there are more restaurants, coffee shops, and pubs to go to. I can see myself living here. But first, I need to meet Ulrich's family. He told me that his sister, Riella, would be joining us as well later. I felt as if there was a knot in my stomach. Knowing Alistair Black does not approve of me is just making me more nervous as I take one step closer to the front door. Are you ready? Asked Ulrich. I smiled a little at him. Not really, but there's no sense delaying the inevitable. Just breathe and be yourself. You don't have to impress my parents or anything. He reminded me, so I nodded. Remember, I love you no matter what. What he said warmed my heart and gave me the courage to face his parents. I love you too. Ulrich kissed my temple and he opened the door. We came here using magic. Ulrich didn't want to at first, but I had to test what Erica taught me the other day to create a portal, and I found an excellent opportunity. I burst out laughing when Ulrich said we might end up in Timbuktu, wherever that is. By noon, he agreed and thought it would be an exciting adventure for us. And here we are now. Ulrich. When I followed the voice, I saw a young woman a bit younger than me. She had long dark hair with a few waves at the ends. And as she came closer, I thought she looked like Ulrich. This must be her sister. What's her name again? Crap. I can't remember. Hey, sweets. When did you arrive? Ulrich asked. Last night, but Mom said you already left to go to Bronze Ridge. She turned to look at me and smiled sweetly. My apologies. I didn't mean to ignore you, Amelia. His sister. You must be Grace. I was going to shake her hand, but she shook her head and gave me a warm hug. No shaking hands. You're my sister, a hug is more appropriate, said Riella. After she hugged me, Riella asked me if she could touch my belly, and I nodded. Soon, I will be an auntie. Do you know what you're having? She seemed excited. It's nice to meet you, Riella. We decided not to find out the gender of the baby. She guided me to the couch, and we sat together. Ulrich, on the other hand, sat on the chair across from us. Oh, that's cool. I love surprises. You're due soon, aren't you? Yes, in a few weeks. I like Riella. She's like Erica, but a little subtle. Have you gone shopping yet? I'd love to shop with you, said Riella. I smiled. I haven't yet, but I have a list. Maybe we can go through it together to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, that's wonderful. Make sure you get Ulrich's black card. After shopping, we will go for a manicure and a pedicure. We can also get our hair done and... hello. I'm still here. I can hear you, Ulrich said to his sister. Riella grinned at her brother. I did that on purpose. Come on, you haven't treated me for over a year, bro. She did her puppy dog eyes and got her brother wrapped around her finger. Ulrich sighed. All right, you win. I'll give Grace my card, so you both can have a girl a day, whatever you call it. Yes. Thank you. Do you know where Mom and Dad are? They just went out for a bit. Mom and Dad will be back in an hour. Why don't guys rest for a bit? I'll send some snacks into your room. Okay, thanks, sis. Ulrich took me to his bedroom on the second floor, and it was huge. It had a minimalist design with neutral colors from white to gray to black. There's a huge bed that can fit more than 5 people. The windows are large and give natural light. The ceiling is immaculate, and the bathroom gorgeous. Honestly, it looked like a whole freaking house alone, and he calls this a bedroom. He wrapped his arms around me and rested his chin on my shoulder. How do you like my room? It's big. It is. There's a lot of spots to have SEM. He was going to say sex, so I turned around and covered his mouth with my hand. Don't even say it, the baby can hear you. I narrowed my eyes at him, and his shoulders started shaking. I took my hand off his mouth. You're too cute. He hugged me and claimed my lips for a quick kiss. How many women did you bring in here? A lot, said Ulrich. I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? I'm only kidding. He laughed. I'm saving this bedroom for my Luna. Ulrich tapped my nose lightly and said, and that's you. Are pregnant women even allowed to blush? Because my cheeks felt warm all the way down to my toes. Exaggerated, I know. Let's just say I fell in love with him, even more after hearing him say that. I thought dinner was awkward, but this conversation is worse, if I can even call it that. Aurora is quiet and lost in her own world, while Alistair barely says a word. It was Ulrich talking the whole time and telling them about us. I wish Riella had joined us, so the air would be a little lighter. Where are your parents? Alistair suddenly asked. When I looked at him, I saw intimidation. He's a big man, about 6 feet, broad shoulders, short dark hair, expressive eyes, pointed nose, and thin lips. He doesn't look like Ulrich at all. I feel weird about him for some reason. It's like I know him, but I don't. Are you finished studying me, or you're hard of hearing? Dad, said Ulrich. Relax, I am asking her a question, and she won't answer me. Don't you think that's rude? Asked Alistair. My apologies, Mr. Black. I mean, my parents are no longer around, I said to him. He furrowed his brows. No longer around. My mother died from a car accident about 5 years ago, and my father is. I've never met him. I have no reason to lie about my parents. I see, so you were raised by a single mother, said Alistair. I don't know if it was praise or an insult. Yes. My mother worked 3 jobs to put food on the table and send me to school. We don't always have enough, but we get by. Amelia is an amazing woman. It's time I used my mother's real name, now that I know who we truly are. I don't know why your father didn't take responsibility, but it sounds like he's not a good man, because if he is, he will stick around. Men like that are jerks and don't deserve to have a child. I didn't know how to answer after he said that. But I agree with him. My father is a complete irresponsible jerk. Alistair didn't press further about my parents, but I noticed Aurora flinched when I said my mother's name. I find it weird since I don't think they've met. Mom grew up in New York with some foster family I've never met and moved out when she turned 18. She never talked about them, so I don't know them. How are you related to the Strains? Asked Alistair. Great, more about family. Queen Amari is my grandmother. My mother is her only daughter whom she lost when she was a baby. Alistair was in awe. But Aurora, she didn't seem surprised. Why? If you were her grandchild, why were you staying at Bronze Ridge and not in Shadowmoon? How are you related to the owl? Dad. Grace is in a relationship with me. I held Ulrich's hand to stop him from saying any more that would fuel his anger. Alpha Victor became my friend when he saved me from Valentine. He was kind enough to offer protection, a job, and a roof over my head when I had no one. I still have a lot to learn about being a wolf or a witch, but I know Ulrich and I are fated mates. I've never been with anyone but him, and that was my choice. I didn't know I was a witch until the night of your party. You were here. I don't remember inviting you, said Alistair. He looked confused. He was probably trying to remember that night, if he saw me here. I was in the same car that Alpha Victor was in. We just dropped him off here, and then we left. It's my first time in Montreal, and I wanted to go sightseeing. I didn't know I was not supposed to step in my father's territory. Aurora paled. Oh, something is not right. First, my mother's name, and now my father's territory. Your father's territory. Your father is from here. Alistair's eyes widened. What's his name? He asked. Yes, he is from here, but I don't know his name. My mother never told me, and it was not in my birth certificate either. I shrugged. I don't really care about him, so why bother knowing him? As for being a witch, it was activated the same night, and I froze the entire store to stop my friend Taryn from falling. When Erica didn't freeze like the others, that's how I learned she was a witch, and it turned out she was my cousin who was sent to protect me. I'm sorry I talked too much. Aurora cleared her throat. It's getting late. Maybe we should all go to bed and have some rest. You're going back to Bronze Ridge tomorrow, aren't you? But before I could answer her, Alistair asked again. Did you just say you learned about being a wolf and a witch when you came to High Crown? Oh yes, and I mean, Queen Emlyn bound my powers and cast a spell so that I can live my life as a human. My mother doesn't want me to be associated with this magical world. He looked at me sternly. What did you say your mother's name was again? We should go, Alistair. I'm tired, and I want to go to bed. But Alistair was waiting for my answer and ignored his wife, so she spoke again. She's pregnant and can't stay up late, said Aurora. Amelia, I said to him. For some reason, Alistair looked disappointed. This is such a weird night. Valentine. Just when I was about to lose hope, Vincent and I visited Club Alcazar at Woodbridge. It's a neutral ground for all species, and some say it is under the protection of the moon goddess. Attacking anyone while on the premises is strictly prohibited and punishable by death. I don't come here often as I find it boring, but Vincent suggested we go out for a change. Right now, watching the other species make a fool of themselves is pretty entertaining. In fact, There's one she-wolf that kept dancing even though there was no more music. Wait a minute. Why does she look familiar? I've seen her before in Italy. My lord, do you need anything? I can get it for you, said Vincent. I'm fine, I just wanted to say hello to someone I've never seen for a while. I'll be back shortly. The she-wolf sat down on a bar stool and ordered a scotch. Fascinating. If she's drinking that, it means she's going through something difficult. I've seen the others order margarita or martini, but never like this one. I decided to sit down beside her and ordered the same drink. Of course, it's for her. I can pay for my own drink, thank you, she said without throwing me a glance. I know, I just thought you needed another one, she sneered. Don't act as if you care, you don't even know me. Oh, but I do. In fact, we've seen each other before in Italy, if my memory serves me right. I don't remember you, and frankly, I don't really care. She downed the content of this first glass in one gulp. You should. If my hunch is right, I might be able to help you with your problem, I said to her. She is my ticket to get Grace. I don't need your help, go away. She closed her eyes and slumped in the chair. I can see how heartbroken you are. So what? It's none of your business. It's not like you can do anything about it. You're heartless. You wouldn't know how I feel. She's feisty. Oh, I won't be heartless for long. I found someone to keep me company for all eternity, I said to her. Good for you. The she-wolf started yawning, so I thought I'd be a little bolder. The last thing I want is for her to fall asleep. I wouldn't be able to get the information I need if it happened. What can I do to ease your suffering? Suffering is not just for humans. Other species go through them too. She gulped the drink I gave her and ordered another one. I thought she was going to wait before she drinks it, but she swallowed that one too straight. It must be nice to taste something other than blood. I can't wait until the eclipse. If you want to ease my suffering, take that bitch out of my pack. She doesn't belong there. Bitch. Is that her name? No, her name is Grace. The she-wolf laughed like it was the funniest thing she heard. Grace. That's a lovely name. The she-wolf scowled. She took everything from me. I hate her. First, my brother. Then my pack. And now, Ulrich. I saw him first. The alcohol is now in her system, and she's becoming more talkative. What did you want to do to Grace? Do you want her to die? No. Of course not. I'm not like that. She paused, then said, I just want her out of my life. She's taking everything from me. If you want her, go get her. You know I can't go in without an invitation. That is not a problem. If you promise not to hurt anyone from my pack, then I will invite you in. When do you plan to get her? Oh wait, she's pregnant, so you have to be careful. Plus, she's a witch too. I saw her close the fridge without touching it. I am sure I can handle her. However, if your pack attacks us, you know, we need to defend ourselves. Just don't hurt them. Come up with a plan or something so there won't be bloodshed, she suggested. Grace. When Ulrich and I returned to Bronze Ridge 2 days later, I didn't expect the pack to throw a little farewell party for me. The courtyard is decorated well, and there's so much food on the table. Everyone looked happy to see me and wished me a safe delivery of the baby. Did you know about this? I asked Ulrich when Taryn showed us to our seats. She is helping out at the gathering today. As for Erika, she is talking to Hans not too far from where we're seated. He scratched his head. Erika told me last minute about it. We should have brought Riella with us. She would love to celebrate with us. Don't worry, we will have another celebration at High Crown once you move there. I just smiled and didn't comment on it. Ulrich's mother barely speaks to me. And his father, well, let's just say if he doesn't have a question for me, he won't talk to me. Let's leave it at that. While the others were eating, some were dancing with their significant others. The children were playing in the corner, and everyone looked like they were having lots of fun. But all that stopped immediately when one of the guards sounded the horn. He was signaling that the first gate had been breached and there would be an attack. All the mothers, along with the Omegas, took the children and went into hiding. I haven't shifted yet, and even though I have learned combat from reading books, I am still pregnant and should protect my child at all costs. Grace, you have to go with them, said Ulrich. No, I am staying here with you. I can help. They came here to get you, and if you are out in the open, it would be easy for them to snatch you. Taryn, please take GR. No, I'm staying, and that's final. I have you in the pack. Erica is here too. We are stronger together. Just then, Victor came to see us. Why are you still here? Taryn, I swear to the goddess of all goddesses, that if the two of you gang up on me, I will freeze your ass until this attack is over. I crossed my arms across my chest and took a stance. I'm staying, and that's final. Taryn, please leave now. Victor nodded at Taryn, then tapped Ulrich's shoulder. Good luck, Alpha. Brett. Ulrich called for his beta, and he came immediately. Yes, Alpha. Stay with Grace. She can't shift yet. Protect her with your life. Do you understand? Yes, Alpha. Ulrich gave me a tight hug and whispered, Please take care of yourself and the baby. I wouldn't know what to do if something happened to the both of you. I'll be fine. You take care too and focus. Don't think about me. I can handle myself, I said to Ulrich. Someone shouted that they were getting near. I love you, said Ulrich. I love you more. That's all he needed to hear, and Ulrich shifted into a big black wolf. I don't faint at the sight of wolves anymore, but oh my, Havoc is huge. In fact, he is bigger than Victor's wolf. Willow is getting restless and wants to take over, but she can't. I told her that I could only shift after the baby was born. She wants to fight side by side with Havoc, but I told Willow that it would happen when the right time comes. Hans had already shifted into a golden brown wolf. He told me his wolf's name is Stark. If we weren't in danger, I would have joked around with him and asked if he was related to Iron Man. Everywhere I look, I see wolves except for Erica and me. We were the only two witches in sight, and she positioned herself near me. Erica used her arrogance's power and manipulated the air and the wind with her mind. As for me, I am trying to calm my nerves and save my energy for the battle. I have received my other powers in the last few days, and I can control all 4 elements. However, fire seems to be a little challenging to handle. But with more practice, I know I can do better. I just have to be careful with it, so I won't turn everyone into ashes. This thermal blast is a serious business. Grace, they're here, said Erica. I nodded to her and waited for the others to make a move. The wolves are all in position, while the vampires are spread out like an army. Valentine is nowhere in sight. What a coward! Always sending someone else to do the job for him. The vampire in the middle came forward and spoke. My name is Roberto Perigo, and we didn't come here to fight. We just need to get someone that belongs to our Lord. Didn't come here to fight. He's insane. There were about 500 of them, give or take, and he says they didn't come here to fight. Only a fool would believe him. Since all has shifted, they are not able to talk. But Erica did, the loudmouth that she is. She doesn't belong to your Lord, dumbass. Go back to your filthy coffins and sleep for eternity. If you are not going to give her to us, then all the blood that will spill tonight will be on her hands. Just hand her over, and we won't harm anyone. Bronze Ridge may be 700, but 200 of them are a combination of young and old omegas plus children. Also, the others are away for the holidays, so there are only about 400 in here right now. 402 including Erica and me. No? Roberto asked when no one answered him. He raised both his hands, and the vampires started coming at us in all directions. The wolves take them on with no mercy. Stark didn't leave my side and protected me like he promised havoc. In my last fight downtown, I noticed that freezing time takes a lot of my energy, so I won't use it unless I really need to. For now, telekinesis would be my best option. And thermal blast. Behind you. I shouted at Stark when 10 vampires attacked him at once, and he fell to the ground. I was able to wave my hand and send the other 5 flying to only goddess knows where, but the other 5 held on to him too tight. I started blasting them one by one until one vampire grabbed me by the hair. It was Roberto. I was able to orb myself and was ready to blast him, but he shimmered away, and I couldn't see him. I looked around, and it was a bloody mess. There were more and more wolves and vampires on the ground, and I didn't know if they were still alive or not. "Grace, do it now," said Erica. She looks weary, trying to help the wolves as much as she can. She wants me to freeze the time, so we can save the lives of the others. I froze everyone except for Erica and used my telekinesis power to move all the wolves away from the vampires. I put them near me and I blasted all the vampires in sight. As they turned to ashes, my vision turned black and I lost consciousness. Erica. After last night's event, Grace passed out, and I used my power to break her fall, then ran to catch her. The wolves started shifting back to their human form, and Ulrich came to Grace's aid immediately. "Call a doctor," he shouted, and Dr. Hayes came forward. "Please take her inside, so I can check on her," she said to Ulrich. I went inside with them, and as I walked, I heard Dr. Hayes instructing her team to tend to the wounded, and to those who didn't make it. I have never liked violence, but since Grace discovered who she really was, trouble seems to follow her wherever she goes. No wonder Aunt Amelia has never wanted her to go to High Crown. We didn't wait long for Dr. Hayes to come, and she checked Grace and the baby right away. Victor came as well while Hans was nowhere in sight. He was probably helping the others in the courtyard. "Has this happened before?" Dr. Hayes asked. I didn't know if she was asking Ulrich or me. "I haven't seen her pass out," said Ulrich. "Erica, have you?" I shook my head. "No," I said. "No, I haven't. But she told me that she felt weak when she used her powers too much. Something about the baby taking her energy. The seer told her that it would be different once she gives birth." Dr. Hayes breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good to know. I was going to do some blood work, but the baby's heartbeat is fine. Grace looks a little pale from the fight, but she will be okay. She just needs rest." Ulrich stayed with Grace, while I went outside to cast a spell of protection. The vampires managed to get an invitation from goddess knows who, but they cannot re-enter after I do this. That is, unless someone invites them in again. I sensed someone was staring at me, and when I glanced to my right, I saw Hans. I can't tell what message he's trying to convey, but at least he doesn't have the scowl on his face. I continued chanting until I finished the spell. Bronze Ridge is safe again. I woke up early to get some breakfast for myself and prepare a tray for Ulrich and Grace in the morning. As I was about to bite on my bagel, I heard someone come into the kitchen. When our eyes met, she immediately frowned. "It's Vivian. You're still here. Haven't you both done enough damage to our pack? Some of them died because of her. How many more are going to lose their lives to save her ass, huh?" Take your battle elsewhere, and don't drag this pack to hell," said Vivian. She was shaking in anger. I was trying to observe her behavior, and she's not mad because of me. Or Grace. She's angry about something else. If there's anyone who wanted Grace gone in here so badly, it's her. Were we really the ones who dragged this pack to hell, Vivian? I asked her. All this time, I was looking into her eyes and studying whether she would flinch or show at least a hint of nervousness. No one in this pack wanted Grace gone, except you. That is not true. There are others who didn't want her here too. One, she stammered. Really? Who are they? And I will ask Hans if we can talk to them. You say the vampires couldn't come in here without an invitation. Who do you think let them in? 2. She swallowed twice. I will leave you to ponder that I already lost my appetite for breakfast. I carried the tray of food for Ulrich and Grace. Victor. What happened was unexpected. Someone invited them in. There's a traitor in my pack. Whoever that is will pay significantly. Some lives were lost, and a lot of the pack members were injured. If they attacked and Grace was not here, I have no doubt we would be slaughtered with the number of vampires that came last night. I was deep in my thoughts about the fight study when the door opened. It was my sister. She closed the door behind her. Vivian, not now. I said to her. Not now. When are you going to wake up? Like always, Vivian is dramatic when it involves Grace. She's messing up everything our parents and ancestors built, Vic. She didn't mess up anything. Grace saved us last night. I said to her. Saved? You call that saving when there's really no need for saving, if she didn't come here in the first place. I told you over and over she does not belong here. Vivian stomped her foot, then massaged her temples. Vivian, I am still alpha, and what I say goes whether you like it or not. I know that, but your infatuation with her is clouding your judgment. If you wanted to help her, you didn't need to give her a job here and a room at the main house. Just leave her in New York and give her a large sum of money, she said. I shook my head and laughed sarcastically. A large sum of money like the last time? Vivian furrowed her brows. What do you mean last time? Did you offer her money before? I don't understand. I massaged my nape and sighed. How can you forget it so quickly? Am I supposed to remember her? Victor, I have no time for this. I should just go and get myself a nice bubble. The car accident in New York. I said to her. What about it? It's already settled, isn't it? Why are you bringing it up again? Do you want me to have nightmares? I am bringing it up because the woman you despised so much lost her mother that night, and it's all because of you. I heard her gasp. Yes. Grace is Dawn Aspen's only daughter. If you weren't too stubborn that night, her mother would still be alive. I didn't. You didn't mean to hit her. Probably, but you were still irresponsible for drinking and driving. You could have taken a taxi, but you were too cocky with your friends. And what was the result of that, huh? Vivian's tears started to fall. I didn't mean to hit her. I was dizzy, and instead of stepping on brakes, I stepped into the gas, and I thought when you called me, and I took the fall for you, you would have a little bit of humility in your body, but you even worsened. Mom and Dad spoiled you way too much, and if you think I am going to do the same, you have another thing coming. Vivian, it's time you learn your lesson. I am not going to tolerate your bad behavior, and if you can't stand my rules, you are welcome to live someplace else. This is the last time you're going to say anything nasty about Grace. I left her in the study after saying that. I needed to go out for a walk and rethink everything. The first time I saw her was at the cemetery. Even though she didn't see me, I still came to pay my respect to her mother for the last time, and ask for forgiveness for my sister. Since then, I have been visiting New York frequently more than I used to. For the last few years of watching her, I came to know her from a distance. She is strong-willed, smart, not just book smart, but street smart too, diligent and one of a kind. She is an amazing woman. Grace is a beautiful person in and out, and even though I know she has a pure heart, I am not sure she can forgive me that easily. Hell, I don't even know if she will ever forgive me, period. I just need to get through the eclipse, and after that, I will distance myself. But of course, if she needs me, I am here for her. Always.